report. So good morning to all of viewers that are tuning in today. I'm Dollar, your host for G5 LS301 news report. We have just received a breaking news from Verona. Juliet, the only daughter of the Caption family, has tragically passed away. Now let's go live at our correspondent, Kakada. How's the situation there?
Thank you, Dollar. I'm reporting a live news in Verona outside the Capulet residence. According to the source, the death of Juliet remains uncertain. However, some of the witnesses saying that Juliet was found lifeless in her chamber early this morning. As you can see, the atmosphere here is filled with disbelief and grief. Many locals have come to pay a respect and also a deep condolence to the Juliet family. Despite this grief, one member of the Juliet family has agreed to give us an interview. Joining with me now is Lady Juliet, who has kindly agreed to speak with us during this difficult time. Lady Juliet, first of all, please accept our deepest condolence. I cannot imagine how are you and your family are going through right now. First, I want to ask you, how are you coping with the loss and what would you like to share about Juliet's passing?
Thank you for your condolence. Actually, I'm not okay. It's so shocking. I couldn't believe it was happening to my dearest daughter, Juliet. My Lord and I did everything for her happiness, and I hope that she could marry a good husband like Count Paris, the one we chose for her. Also, last night she agreed to marry him, but in the end it turned out to be a tragedy for our family. If I had known that she would poison herself like this, I would not force her to marry him. I would open my heart and accept the truth and let her be with the ones who she loved. Or if my Lord and I would not set such a high expectations and demanded obedience from her, she might not die like this. Now we are deeply at fault and we will do our best to help her rest in peace. After this happened, we learned that we should give our children the freedom for themselves to decide on what life that they would want to live and should give them more opportunity to express their opinions and concerns so that they can feel more reliable and a sense of love from us as their parents.
Thank you, Lady Capulet. I would not bother you any longer. It's such a very emotional speech and also honestly heartful words. Thank you.
ឲ្យអូនឈឺឲ្យអូនរំឲ្យអូនខឹងមួម៉ៅដូចលះខាងក្រៅរឿងរ៉ាវដដែលសន្យាឲ្យនៅតែខូចអូនសុំចប់អូនសុំបែកជាមួយបងរហូតតែបងនេះឈួតបងមានអំនួតថាអូនមិនអាចអត់បងទេឥឡូវបែកមែនទើបដឹងថាស្ដាយក្រោយខ្លាំងណាស់ស្នេហ៍ចង់មកក្រោយកែប្រែក៏ហួពេលទៅហើយប្រាប់ពីងចុងក្រោយថា
Now, to gain a further insight into this tragedy, I will speak with Claire Lawrence, a trusted advisor for both Romeo and Juliet. Claire Lawrence, thank you for joining with us. I have a few questions for you. First, how do you feel when a wedding ceremony turns into a funeral? And second, do you notice any suspicions of Juliet's behavior before her death?
Thank you for the question. So, when a ceremony wedding turns into a funeral, it is a sad thing that happen in life. People should not be in that kind of situation. When I first heard the news about Juliet that it was I was so shocked and also I feel heartbroken when I can't believe that a pure heart and lovely girl was gone. Also, when the when Juliet that before Juliet that I feel like so suspicious when she always stay alone and come to me to ask for advice and also she's cry and also talk about the arranged marriage of with Paris. It's a sad thing to hear all of that kind of thing, but it's a sad thing she was gone.
Thank you, Claire Lawrence. Your words mean a lot to Juliet and her family.
So thank you, Kakada, for your update from the scene at Verona. And our deepest condolence go out to the captured family, and our thought and prayer are with them during this difficult time. We just received a call. From Manchu, where Juliet lover herself is calling us Romeo. So can you hear me clearly, Romeo?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so Romeo, how are you feeling at the moment?
I am distraught. I didn't know she'd be gone just like that. She was all I have. She didn't leave me anything, not even a message.
I see. I can only imagine how difficult this must be for you, Romeo. And one question that our audience and me myself are curious about: did you have any about this tragic event? And what will you do now that Juliet is gone?
I had no idea about the event before someone told me about it. I have no idea how I would move from this, and I'm hoping that maybe I could recover. She was all I had, and she was the only love I ever truly loved for once.
បងនឹកអូនខ្លាំងណាស់បងនឹកស្ងួនខ្លាំងណាស់ឥឡូវបងរងា
Such a heartbreaking event for someone so young to experience. Our hearts go out to Romeo during this painful time. And now, for the final segment of our program, we would like to speak with a expert analyst to help us understand the emotional and psychological side of this strategy. So let's welcome Mr. Expert Analyst. And now for our final segment of today's program, we will talk to our expert analyst who will help us understand more deeper into our emotional and psychological factor behind this tragic event. So good morning, Mr. Expert Analyst. Thanks for joining us today. Could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Thank you for inviting me for today's shows. I am Dr. Colum. I recently graduated from the Universities of Verona, and I am working currently in Verona as an advisor, mostly on the psychological department.
As you know, we have just reported just a moment ago about the passing of Juliet from the captured family. So can you explain us about the emotional and psychological factor behind this event?
Juliet, of course, was forced into an arranged marriage, into another family. You know, the family she doesn't know, a husband she had never talked to, and into a place that she was never familiar with. She tried to, of course, oppose her father's will and wishes, but that does nothing since, you know, he is way bigger than her and has control over just about everything. Now, what do you think a 14-year-old can do in this situation, you know, at least something that has a favorable outcome for them?
So from my perspective, among most of teens, they will listen to their parents, as we all know, and some may have been like, you know, may bad behavior, maybe run away from home.
Yes,
and the last resort, I think maybe that's suicide.
Sure, but let us look at the first two options you mentioned, you know, opposing her parent or running away. But first of all, she could not appeal to her parent. being the king and the queen. They had a lot of power, and she's merely a princess under their shoe. Secondly, she can't run away. Even if she did, where would she go? And if she can't find somewhere to go, then the king would just send out the guard and the hunters to find her and bring her back, and eventually force her to marry again. And third, she has no one to, lean on. Romeo being banished and all, there's no one in the city to help her. So what do you think she turned to afterward?
I think it would lead to the last option which I have mentioned. That cause
Yes.
of that maybe poison or hang herself, or maybe jump from a high place. Yeah.
Yes, and then you're right, as we already got a report from it. She took a poison vial and tragically passed away. Her death is tragic, but considering all the factors that I had mentioned, I am not surprised by it. She's after all very young, and she doesn't really have much option either to stop the pain and the inevitable pressures her parents put on. She chose the only obvious way out, and then lead to us right now talking about that.
So does that mean that will lead to an end?
Not specifically. Of course, the king would think that he can always make more, daughters and stuff. But Juliet was loved by many. Yes,
Yeah,
you can
it's
see
true.
as with the interview I've watched before. Many people loved her, and it's going to definitely put a lot of pressures on the royal family.
So thank you for your insight and thought on this tragic event behind all of this. And so before we close, do you have any last word for our audience?
Yes, my final message would be directed to the parent, especially those in power. Your children are not your tool. They are people. They have their own rights, and we should respect it. If you want them to do things that, you wanted them to, you have to sit them down and talk them through the process. And if they do not agree with your method, then let them be. It's a luxury that many cannot afford. And you, as a parent, perhaps should give it a try, teaching your children and guiding them into a better path. That would be all from me.
So thank you once again, and that was a very insightful advice that you give to us, not only the parent but also parent to be, to consider these events as an example, or maybe a way for more like parentful things.
Parenting,
Yeah. And once again, our deepest sympathy go to the Caption family. Our prayer and our thoughts are with you during this difficult time. And with that, our news report program ends here. I'm Dollar, your host for G5 LS301 news report. Signing out. Thank you and good luck.
Yeah. Camo Cypher Hip Hop ចូលស្ទឹងតាមបតតែកំបតចូលស្ទឹងតិចភងនៅរវងបាត់បឹងពួកអាបដកកពួកអកជប់កណ្ដឹងភ្លេចខ្លួនសក្តិជ្រាបមិនសាច់ចំអកសัตว์ជ្រឹងពួកអាឆាបម្លឹងបានឆាបតែអ្នកមិនដឹងឃើញយើងមានសន្តិភាពពួកវាតែគៀបប្រកាន់ទៅតឹងពួកអាមាត់បលប្រហុកអស់អាហែកដល់ឆ្អឹងបលអាហែកទៅមួយកន្លែងដូចជាគោ